Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome back. It's time to wrap up the week. We're here on Friday. Let's take a look at what we got today. We'll take a look at Brent Crude bouncing back a little bit. FTX Ventures taking an investment. We'll talk about that. Tesla looking at lithium hydroxide refinery facility. DocuSign earnings, Zscalers, Restoration Hardware. We'll talk about an upgrade in Regeneron and a little bit on Apple TV. And of course, we got our guest today, Nate Tobik, investor and founder of CompleteBankData.com. If you guys are ready to finish up the week with none other than pre-market prep, get us started with a thumbs on up and get ready to rise and shine. It's time to start the day. Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I'd buy that stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, traders and investors. It looks like I got the title wrong this morning. It should have been the 50% retracement.
That's
and my
it.
man,
It's the
Dennis
50s
Dick, coming
show.
on and killing it yesterday with that call on the overall
Welcome
market.
to the 50s call.
The 50s. We're back.
I like the 50s. The music was pretty good. Joel, was like, how old were you in the 50s?
Dennis, we
25,
just have
30 years
to
old?
we have to proclaim we have to proclaim the Fibonacci retracements are no longer relevant. I mean, we have to come up with a new name. Further, let me get rid of the BIBB.
Yeah, it can't be the Fibs.
A new name. We got to get rid of the Fibonacci. Should we call it? Big question. Should we call it the JD retracement or the DJ? Because D comes before J, right? But I created. I taught you it. So what are we going to call it? Okay.
I know.
And I just want you to know.
It's page 4 on our virtual.
Yeah.
I
am burning this book today. Okay. Because I sent you the outline, right, for our book.
What year is that book from, Joel?
I bought this when I was in Chicago. So,
what year is that one from? That looks like the 70s.
No, it's Edwards and McGee. It's like the golden book of technical. Look at all these pages here.
No worries.
Writing.
No worries. I got you too. We'll burn the newer one.
Yeah, man.
We got the newer version of it. And all we're going to do is put 50%.
That's it.
One word, 50%. 50%. That's it.
You know what?
That's all that matters.
Dennis, I can just mark this up, right?
Why do we need this stuff when we have
50%
Dennis
on every page?
50%.
Dennis, you were off by 12
50%
cents.
in school isn't a good grade, but 50% in the markets does really well.
You were off by 12 cents. I just want.
I missed it by 12 cents.
You are horrible.
Right.
Horrible.
Didn't quite get there.
All right.
I'm telling you, man, it was setting up for, selling off on Powell. Then they're not so bad, bouncing at the 50% and running into Tuesday CPI report. It all added up.
Yeah, that's what I asked. That was my question.
Should we call this the pre-market spoon feed show?
That was spoon feeding you guys yesterday.
We're just like boom.
You gotta get your Skittles.
Yeah.
Gotta get your Skittles. Feed them up.
Yeah, it's just like those guys. All right. Enough fun here. People are gonna get upset with us here. Boom. S&Ps talking SEP here. Missed that closing tick by one tick. Closing price by one tick. I don't have much resistance for you, but as always, you got to respect that pre-market high of 44.50. My next true daily high is not up until 72.75. I'll have these numbers for you on Monday. Dollar getting whacked, down 77 cents here at 108.935. We'll keep an eye on the dollar. TLT up 45 cents, 105.80, 108.51. Double bottom in crude, a bounce. Dennis, I don't think you called that one. Up $1.48.85.
That would be me. Don't worry.
Gold up 1090 at 1731.
Spinner's always good though,
Silver.
Joel.
What'd you say?
Spinner's always good to call me out. He says, you might have called that right, but you sucked on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
But
you
know
sucked
what?
on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Dennis.
but
I
here's-
suck on Bitcoin.
You
Lucky
suck.
I don't trade Bitcoin.
You know
lucky.
what though? How do you know that there was a catalyst, right? Did you know that Bankman was going to put 30% in Skybridge Capital? I mean, that's a catalyst. That's an unknown.
But Joel, one thing that I've been noticing more of is when you get those hard down moves because Bitcoin sold off before the market, look for sometimes the market to rally Bitcoin because the correlation seems to make sense. I mean,
You did call that yesterday, and I don't know if
it was a
on the
weird
at the
down
close.
move, and I was like, hold on, this is
why?
weird.
Yeah, this is supposed
weird.
to
The
go with the
SPY
market.
isn't going down.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that
and talk
for a
Bitcoin
second.
because we have bottom.
Let's get into it.
Let's talk Bitcoin just quickly because it's been talked about on CNBC nonstop because of the deal. But we double bottomed kind of here, Joel, on Bitcoin here. We held the July low, and that's the good news.
That's
So
the good news.
I'll
Let me
say
give the news here.
I
Let me
still
give the news
think
right
Bitcoin's going lower longer term, but there's a short term bounce here. And one thing to consider is the market, the Nasdaq is positively correlated with Bitcoin. There's no way you get a rally in the Nasdaq and Bitcoin probably goes the other way. It doesn't usually happen. So you got to understand your relationships. So in any regard here, Bitcoin, nice day for it this morning. It's got the double bottom in place. You could get bullish, but again, I'm not chasing. You get a pullback now. Let's talk 50% retracements. So, maybe you get today's candle, maybe you pull back, people, and then maybe you take a strike on it. But I'm still saying it's not, something I'm looking to invest in. I'm investing in stuff, real companies making real money, not just, crypto is going to take over the world. Because I don't think we're transacting crypto anytime soon. So I'm sticking with my overall bearish thesis in Bitcoin. But if you're overall bullish the market, don't be shorting anything. You don't be shorting crypto if you're bullish. So obviously, I told you yesterday, I think we got room to 410 on SPY.
Nice.
And that's why I'm sticking with a little bit long, getting paid for it today. Yes, people love it when I lose money. Sorry, not going to probably lose money today. Maybe I'm going to. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Now your day's almost over. Your day's almost over. I mean,
it's all just about, it's about flipping, and I flip a lot and I do a lot of different calls and stuff. But I mean, these 50% have been really working well. Just taking call the 50% show. I mean, yeah, okay, the June rally, we got over it. 420 was more than 50% of the overall move. But we bounced on the 390 right at the 50%. So, and then we had a 50% retracement of the previous day's move.
Yeah,
a 50% retracement of the recent move would bring us back to 410. I think that's possible.
Yep. I just the one thing I want to say about Bitcoin here is that it's just perfect timing, by Scaramucci and Bankman, right? It was, where it was at on the charts. And I think that, this is a big catalyst and it's a big move. And I think that, if it holds, I think you have to, y'all coming up with your own definition of what holds. But if it doesn't, then I think you really got to be concerned. But it's getting a nice pop today, trading, firmly into green. So, and going with the market, right? It took a day or two. So I wanted to do that. And also, I mean, Bankman, I think he has the same hairdresser as you, Dennis.
He's got awesome hair. You say I have bad hair? It's crazy. His hair is going like this. And you know what? I got to give that guy props. That kid, basically just became the arbitrageur of crypto. It's how he made it. You're wondering how he made it. He became the arbitrageur of crypto. He was first to his space. He was making, and I've read some of his stuff, and I'm
gonna get him on here
from him too. He was just quick. He knew crypto really well, and he invented, a high frequency system to arbitrage between the different exchanges. And he was one of the first there. And that's why he got paid to do it. So no different than what, all these high frequency trading firms do every day in the equity markets.
Yep.
He just took it to the crypto markets. And, he got rich very fast doing that because in the equity markets, the high frequency traders are going in for like 0.01%. Like, I mean, fractions, a penny here, a penny there, a penny there. He was making dollars, big time dollars doing that arb, like 1, 2, 3%. That's unheard of in arbitrage.
Yeah.
He was just there that early. So props to Sam. I respect him so much for what he's accomplished there. And obviously, he was first to his space. He basically employed all these high frequency trading systems in the crypto. It's unbelievable the high frequency traders weren't the first ones there. He came from that and created it all and was the first there. So props to him.
All right, let's give the news here. FTX Ventures is to take a 30% stake in Skybridge Capital. Skybridge Capital, the investment firm founded by Anthony Scaramucci, will use portion of the proceeds to purchase 40 million in cryptocurrencies to hold on its corporate balance sheet as a long-term investment. And this is interesting. I mean, that's a pretty big stake, and I mean, buying 40 million in crypto.
Yeah, exactly.
Is now the time, though? That's the only question that I have. Is now the time to go into it? I don't know. I don't know if this is a true hard bottom on Bitcoin. It's tough to call.
It's a good bottom. I'll say it's a good bottom. And to my point, I still think we got a lot of pain ahead for Bitcoin. I don't think we're going back, and I'll still say 10,000. I've been right the whole way down. You can say bad call on Bitcoin, but I've been talking about being bearish Bitcoin since 50,000. I sold the majority of my Bitcoin at 50,000. So I think I've been right here, even though some people think I'm wrong on it. But again, we don't go straight down. There are tradable bottoms.
Exactly.
You have a tradable bottom in Bitcoin here now. I'm not chasing it today when it's up 10%, but you get a pullback. I would jump, and maybe if you're a crypto trader, maybe you're playing it from the long side on a pullback. Again, selling rips, buying dips, shorting rips, buying dips, however you want to do it, but not chasing. Again, if you're coming in buying stocks today, we just rallied 90 handles in a day. I mean, this is, there's room to 410, but it's not easy now. Now you have air below. It was easier yesterday on the pullback when you had the big move, counter move. So here's technical analysis nutshell. Moving down. Get a big counter move. Oh, we caught a few people. Then you get a counter move of that. That's when those people who are short are going to be trying to cover. And that's when the people who are looking to get long are going to be trying to buy.
Yeah, back and fill. Back and
fill, Joel. Back and fill. There's a technical name for it there.
We got Dennis, I did send you like 7 or 8 chapters in the book, and you haven't done one thing, and you're moved in your house now. So you have absolutely no excuse to not to be editing that book.
I know, I gotta start doing some stuff. I'm trying to get this house settled. This house, and you can hear the echo in here. Somebody's saying you must get that new house sound because there's like nothing in here. I have like the Benzinga banner.
Yeah, I have that too. And
I have like emptiness. The house is like I've got to like put some pictures on the wall. Maybe get a carpet because it's just hardwood floor in here. So
that's what happened to me.
Carpet would absorb. Think a carpet, Mitch.
Carpet is needed. I need a carpet too.
Yeah, I'm echoing off these walls. It's just big walls with just nothingness in here. So I need some stuff. Send me some stuff.
Yeah. Come on. Where's the super stickers for the stuff? All right, let's keep going, guys. Let's take a look today at. Did we talk about the overall recap there? I think we ran through crude. Let's take a quick look. That's climbing on up. We can go towards the major news. At least what I caught. Everybody wants to keep eyes on Tesla. And Tesla's coming back right now and is evaluating a project for lithium hydroxide refining facility on the Gulf Coast of Texas. If you guys remember, this is something that I've been trying to point to. I'm going to continue pointing that there's going to be more and more projects, and this is something that we should be watching for. Tesla said that the plant would be focused on the development of battery-grade lithium hydroxide and be the first of its kind in North America. Of course, this came from a letter to Texas Comptroller Office. So one thing that I would state is, look at the lithium players. They're starting to get moved. If you take a look, what did PLL do? The same thing, a project here in the United States. And I think you're going to continue to see more and more projects be released.
I mean, we're right here too. This is something we talked about a week ago. We said when this market turns around, these lithium players are going to be the first ones to go. We talked about this. That's why I stayed long LTHM. They were not going down with the overall market. And we had this conversation, if you remember, a week ago. Lithium demand is not going to go away. There's a long-term, secular market here that is forming for lithium because we are going EV. Whether it's Ford, whether it's GM, whether it's Tesla, whether it's Fisker, whether it's Lordstown, They're all going to
I
need
don't know about
lithium.
Lordstown. How is Ride doing?
They all going to need lithium. So, I mean, I think on pullbacks, you're buying lithium stocks. Mitch gave you a good one too. We'll give him some props too because he's been talking about PLL. That's approaching the highs. I mean,
I love that daily
LTHM, which
chart.
I am long, is trying to break out to new highs here right now. If not, that might be an all-time high on LTHM.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yep.
Are you still long? You're still on that too, aren't you, Joel?
Yep. In one of my portfolios, that's by far the largest position. I'm thinking
Yeah.
of just selling everything else.
I sold some of it. We were in this at $6. Obviously, Gene and Jason
it was
as
a
well.
Gene call. Yep.
Yeah. So now
it's going to take a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. It's going to take a while. For things to grow into it. But every time I look at this thing at like 30, 31, I'm like, man, I got to sell it. And then it goes back down to 20, and I'm like, oh, I'm so stupid. And then it just does the same thing. Now is this going to be a sustainable breakout? And with these kind of things, strong close yesterday, trading up today. You want to see, it's important. Well, it's traded 34.76. It's up 6 cents. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to find out what the all-time closing high is. And then I want to see a couple days it close above that level. Hitting something intraday, we all know, can mean very little. All-time closing high, 34.49. That was eclipsed yesterday. So you give me a couple closes above 34.50 here, then you can call it a breakout. Also, if you want to, if you're playing things on a breakout, we talk about this, maybe throw a tight stop on this one, because if it turns into a fake out, then you can reload again. So that's one important thing about, if you're playing breakouts, different stops, different risk rewards for different situations. But so far, glad I'm held on to that LTHM.
Good hold. I've sold a lot of it, and I wish I wouldn't have sold any. So I was long ALB. I was long LTHM. I was long LAC. I was never long PLL. I sold my LAC right in here, actually. I feel like I sold it, and I should have rebought it because I feel like I sold it around like $30, but that was after, when it went to 40, obviously.
Yeah, those monthly charts.
It got back down to 20. I wish I would have reloaded in that one. The LTHM is the only one I held a piece of, and I think I'd be a buyer of all these on pullbacks.
I'll give you a laggard here. Laggard is MP. MP is the laggard here. Yeah, MP would be the laggard. It's off of the monthly support on the 30s. I like that 30 support there.
Oh yeah,
for a move to come back.
Yep, trading up today, 74 cents too.
Well, there you guys have it. We'll definitely keep an eye out on lithium, and we'll see how Tesla.
They all go. I think long term they're all going higher.
Yeah,
just for Tesla, just a note, for the daily update that I send with recapping the market and the top components. 3 days in a row, Tesla was the biggest percentage winner of the top components, and kind of like, and who also came? Oh, actually, Nvidia might have sneaked it out yesterday by a little bit. Be careful on this Nvidia. We talked about this on At the Close. Very streaky stock. It had 7 down days in a row to make this low here. I'm not saying it's having 7 up days at all, but look at, it just, once this thing gets going in one direction, maybe there's a 1-day hiccup, but very, very trendy stock there. Just as far as a day in a streak trend, that's Nvidia. So keep an eye on that.
You got the triple bottom, 3 lows right in the same area.
And
next chapter.
Shadow above. So.
That's page 5. On shadows, we gotta add shadows. Well, guess.
Well, then that's kind of
guest chapter for Mitch on shadows, and the title of the chapter is gonna be "Don't be scared of your shadow."
Don't be scared of the shadows, guys. You guys heard it there, right above.
You good writer, Mitch? Can you write? You write up a chapter?
Yeah, he can write that.
Yeah, I can handle at least the shadow.
He's
chapter.
got that. Mitch has
maybe
got
not the whole
book.
Shadows.
Dennis will tell you about all your spelling and grammatical errors. So
he'll be good.
I hope
Mitch will be all over it.
Want to do some earnings stocks?
Let's go to DocuSign.
Tell Joel we're not English majors here. We're traders, so grammatical errors
definitely,
are allowed in this business.
That's a common feature from traders.
Except when I have a spelling error in Twitter.
Everybody yells at you for it?
Yeah.
Especially me.
That's why
Joel, you got to get it right, man.
We can get it wrong.
Joel, you got to get it right. Let's go to Docu. What's up with DocuSign, guys? The EPS at 44 cents, beating the 42-cent estimate. Sales at 622.2 million, beating the 602.34 million estimate. And when you take a look, they did do kind of a revenue outlook. Sales was a little bit better here. But it's like right off. It's in line. At least from what their outlook is, the guidance are just in line now.
So it's reporting on the right day. We're back in a risk-on market. You poured 3 days ago, probably doesn't pop this much. I mean, you can look at everything that really reported last night. Zscaler just rip, roar, and rally, and nonstop up $21 here now. DocuSign, RH different. So RH was up on its report, and then it leaked. But looking at, it's risk on. DocuSign, Zscaler, these are high, beta names, Kathy name there. So it's a risk-on market, so they're roaring it and ripping the shorts for one day.
You know what this chart reminds me of here? And I don't know if you guys, a stock that had some good earnings last week, and it was trading way up, and it was bid. Do you guys remember? I'll give you a hint. It was a retail stock.
It was bid. They pulled the rug out.
No, they didn't necessarily. I mean, it sold off that day.
Lulu?
Yes.
There you go. You see,
remember that day?
But then it's ripped higher.
I get my star for the day.
Yeah. It was a tricky day because it actually ripped up to 330 that day, and then boom, and then pulled back. I don't know what day. It was this day right here. It would just look like it was just solidly bid in the pre-market, obliterated the pre-market high. And then I don't know if that was it was a bad day in the market, I believe, and it sold off. But man, that's not quite a double bottom. The lows are a little bit too far away to call an exact double bottom. But so that's why when I see something like this, I'm like, man, someone's bidding it up here. You don't know if they're bidding it to whack it. And DocuSign. Let me see if I can give you a
Everybody's
daily
bidding
level.
this. This is
bidding,
a massive volume.
Why not 70? Right?
Sure.
Why not 70?
Did it get to 70? Why not 70?
I'm not going to say
70.
no.
70 is a nice level, Joel. Harlan Pyan used to say, bring up the chart after 5 seconds, what level jumps out at you? You look at that 90-day chart, you're like, 70. It's a simple game. $70. Yeah. So
don't
am I
ask me
sticking
where
around if I'm
support
long?
is.
Am I sticking around for the last $3? Probably not. But if you're looking to, initiate a short, if you're looking 70 is not a bad number, although I hate shorting rocket ships. I like the 70 number.
My thing with this stock is that it's at least hot. It got lower than the pandemic low, and I think that's a good sign to look for in stocks.
To think about.
But I think that's a good sign to look for in stocks. That means that they retraced their whole 100%.
They gave it all back.
Yeah, they gave it back. And
yeah,
so
there's so many, Mitch, that did that. So many stocks gave it all back. In 2021, people got rich on these things. And if they just didn't sell,
I feel so bad. Yeah, they're
you're watching your
DocuSign,
sign, you're like, yeah, I got 1,000 shares of that at 50. It's at 300. I'm up $250,000 in that thing. Yeah. Just killing it.
It's going to 500.
It's going to 1,000. I'm gonna eventually have $1 million in the stock and rug pull. And it's like, where'd my $250,000 go?
Hope you didn't go on a long vacation.
This market, take the money and run.
$250,000 turns into a margin call.
Yeah. Gotta sell the popcorn while the circus is in town. Let's keep going, guys. Let's get towards one that just hit the tape. I'm gonna actually skip on over. I'll go straight to Kroger here, and then we'll go back to Zscaler.
Kroger this report?
Yeah, it just dropped there, so I just want to kind of
get
into it
Drop
here.
It like it's hot.
Yep, here he goes. 90 cents, beating the 77-cent estimate. Sales at $34.6 billion, beating the $34.25 billion estimate. And Kroger's not looking too bad. I like
$50 is huge for this stock. One, I can see on ARCA, there's 60,000 shares to go. That's a big seller. The entire volume for the entire pre-market, 63,000, is a 62,000 share seller at 50 right now, live in the pre-market. You don't usually see size like that in the pre-market. So 50 is your level of resistance. It's technically lines up too with all those highs. So I would say that's your first point. If you can take out that 50, it gets more interesting. It's good news, obviously, after McCormick's disaster yesterday. It's good news that Kroger is beat and the earnings look okay. With that being said, I don't know if I'm chasing Kroger. They're
Yeah.
trying to take out that 50 though, Joel. They're nibbling. They're hitting them.
They're-
Look, they're lifting them. They're lifting them. They're lifting them.
Yeah, they might have. I would say, if you're lifting it, I would put my orders out here at a quarter, because I see three highs between 50.18 and 50.34. So keep an eye on that, and then the pre-market high 51.30. Do you want to hear a good Kroger story? A real quick good
Let's go
Kroger story?
Kroger.
Okay, for my special sandwiches that I make for tailgates, I use Kroger coleslaw, right? It's the only coleslaw I can use. So there was a game on Saturday, and on Friday, I'm like, okay, Lisa, I'm going to run over to Kroger's, right? And we had a bunch of stupid bottles, that Lisa saves, and I had to return those. So, it's like 2-3 miles away. So I go over to Kroger's. I put all the money in, the bottles, and I don't even know how much money I got. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go buy all the turkey and all the other stuff. And I'm like, I don't have my wallet. I don't have my wallet with me. So I asked them, can we call it a credit card? They said no. So then I was looking for someone in the store to borrow money from, and it did it.
Come on.
So then I was thinking that I was just going to go up to a random person and borrow $20 from them, and then Venmo them. I was thinking futuristic.
Look at this guy getting fancy.
And then
with
I'm
it.
thinking,
yeah, he's got this figured out.
I'm like, holy mackerel, I'm going to get arrested, for panhandling inside Kroger.
Sure.
But I did, from the bottles, I did have enough money to buy my coleslaw. So I turned in my bottle receipt. I got the coleslaw. Then I had to go to another store. But that's my Kroger story.
Joel, I got you, Joel.
Bottle recycling centers are sick.
Joel, you use your phone nowadays. You don't even need a wallet. Your phone has.
I don't have Apple Pay on there.
I'm gonna get it on there for you.
I know. I thought about that too.
That saved me countless times. Also, now I just use my phone. I'm like,
I know that was stupid of me. I mean, of course, driving around
or your watch.
Yeah,
you have an Apple Watch.
I didn't have my watch on. I know.
You see, there you go. The future.
Hey,
is
they
nice.
took out that seller, Dennis. Did you get a piece of that?
Joel, they did.
They took them out.
Pop it.
60K?
Yeah, they lifted them. Yep.
Yep, they lifted
so you know
them.
how you trade that in the regular session? You let them go 5 and then 5, and then if like 10 goes, then you gotta go for 5, right? You gotta let them nibble, and then you want that last 5K, and then if they come back in with another 50 grand, then you're kind of scratching your head on that one.
Then you're in trouble. It's like, oh, you reloaded.
Then you're right there at $49.99.
Yeah.
All right, let's do Zscaler here as another really good report on a good day to be reporting here, as it looks like. Let's give their earnings here. EPS at 25 cents, beating the 20-cent estimate. Sales at 318.1 million, beating the 305.41 million estimate. They kind of gave out some adjusted EPS here. Sales at 339 million to 341 million versus the 324 million, 0.84 million estimate. So raising the guidance on their sales there, and also a good outlook on the full year 23 adjusted EPS. So there you guys see Zscaler getting some lift.
Cybersecurity not going away. Again, valuations have kept me out of this industry, and sometimes you just got to forget about valuation, just go with story. I mean, the cybersecurity story is not going to go away anytime soon. Would I be a buyer of Palo Alto? I filled the gap almost perfectly, and now it's starting to lift from there. So to Spinner's point earlier, he made a good point. It's been like the earnings have been good. They pop them. Then they leak them for a bit, sometimes even fill the gap, and then eventually they pop them and they start running them again. We saw it with Lulu. We're starting to see it with Palo Alto Networks.
That's why I like
he said we saw it with Enphase, which I don't remember that one, but I'm not going to, Spinner's good. He knows his stuff. So, Zscaler, I wouldn't chase it here, but on pullbacks here, I'd think about it. So if it's to get back 50% retracement of maybe today's move or something, get back like the 165 area, in a couple of weeks, if we get a pullback. Right now, I would just say I missed it, though. I'm not chasing something of $23.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't be chasing either. There's not a sticky level that really.
Too much risk.
There's so. What I'll do is I'll split these 3 highs from mid-August. I mean, 180 psychological. Like if I was in this thing and it kept on going, I'd have to throw just to see if they lifted me at 180, and then I'd throw a lot more size out at 181, and then a lot more size out at 182, and then scale it all the way up with the higher size. But the next daily high comes in at 180, 136.
Intern with a good point. Snow did the same thing too. Another example. Snow with the big pop. And then the subsequent drop, and you know what?
Yep.
Almost filled the gap, and now starting to come back up. Those gap fills, Joel, page 6. We're writing the whole technical analysis book today.
Yeah, and
we're doing it right now here live.
What is it usually washing out? It's washing out.
Yeah, that might be a little bit more different. I don't know if we really have the expert on the gap fills. We got to write more in 2 lines. When you take a look at what I did, you'll see how I'm doing it. It's tough. I mean, I think gap fills are better a lot of times, like to cover. Like if let's say something has a big gap up and, it come down, you cover the short there. Or also you can turn, try the potential long. But a lot of times, man, they just don't get back down to that gap area, and it makes you frustrated. But Dennis, are you seeing anything out there in the S&Ps here? We're just kind of chopping around in the 40, 30 handle.
It's always good to look at the stocks. I mean, it gives you a better feel. And people don't do this exercise. They just look at the S&P. But like I got my whole screen showing me all the majors. I can see what's strong, what's not. It's definitely a Kathy type of day. A lot of Kathy stocks are very strong here. You're seeing obviously risk on day. Square is up 2.32%. That's with Bitcoin rallying. So you're seeing a lot of strength in those stocks. I'm trying to look for weakness here in this market, and I don't see a lot of weakness. Now, there will be stocks that are lagging. The staples are lagging to a certain extent here this morning, but I'm seeing a lot of strength. So sometimes you come in, you see the S&P up 30 sticks, and you're like, well, what's driving it? Today, everything is driving it, so it's like for real. So I wouldn't say that I see this just fading. There's just so much strength across the board. I'm looking at Microsoft up 1%. Google up 1%, Amazon up 1.4%, Tesla up 1.4%. There's not a heck of a lot of major stocks that are only up 0.82%, which makes me feel like I'm a buyer of dips on SPY. It makes me feel a little bit biased to the long, at least trading from a pre-market perspective.
I'll give you something that's a little bit weak, and it's just because you're going to risk off here. The old sneaky UNH, right? That's traded. It's only 500.
No, it's a bad tick.
Bad tick.
So sometimes you got to look at the montage. You see, you had a tick there on FINRA that's showing you a 525.25. It's bid 527, so it's bid up $2 right now. It's an odd lot bid up. You don't see it if you don't subscribe to odd lot.
Okay, so it's still not up though. I mean, the SPY's up 0.8, but that's
and it will lag. So these are lower beta.
Risk off. Yeah,
it's lower beta too. So just understanding relationships. There's certain stocks, like your staples, are going to lag. They're going to move like a fraction. Sometimes they move counter to the market. Lately, they're just moving just not as much as the market. So you just got to, when you're talking healthcare stocks, they move. The betas are lower, so they're not going to move as much as the overall market.
All right. You want to bring on Nate?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's bring on Nate Tobik, investor and founder of CompleteBankData.com. Welcome back on, Nate.
Hey, thanks for having me. Morning.
Good morning.
What do you got on your hat there? What is
I'm rocking a hat today. Yes, it's Friday.
Bad hair day, like Dennis has every day.
That's it. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
What's it say? Coop. What's Coop?
It's a co-op. So it's a
co-op. I was looking like Coop. I got to put the glasses on better.
Yeah, it's a rancher co-op.
Nice.
And so if you're looking for a ranch out west, land brokers could probably help you out.
I could always use a ranch, right?
All of us.
Maybe I make a good trade and I could get a ranch.
That's it. Yeah, I'm like, I just need to find like $6 million in my back pocket, and I could get a little starter level one.
Who knows? Maybe Nate, we could share one because it's going to take a little while.
What about the guitar in the background? Are you a guitar player?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Can you play something for us?
Not on the air.
Can you play this market up? How's this market
looking break right now, Nate? You could get away from banks and you could get right on, and this is your big break right now, live on pre-market prep. Nate Tobik, rocking it out.
Now I know.
That ship sailed 20 years ago.
Now I know why Nate's slow to respond to my emails, because we bring him on the show and all we do is razz him and give him a hard time. He's like, All right.
What is this, a
that
comedy
terrible.
show?
All right.
Here's the funny thing, Joel. Something was going on with my email this week because you were not the only one. I got on another call and they're like, "Hey, why didn't you ever respond? I sent you this email." And I was like, "I never got anything." And then I went back and searched, sitting there unread. So it was covering things up or something. I don't know what it was, but it's anyways.
Microsoft.
Talk to me about interest rates. Talk to me about your buddy Jerome Powell.
Yeah.
Talk to me about inflation coming down. Give me the skinny.
So, I mean, I saw yesterday, the market thinks it's 75 basis points, then 50, then 25. So we'd maybe be at 4% by the end of the year, which, I mean, kind of seems appropriate given where inflation is, right? It actually probably should be a little higher. What's interesting, though, is, I mean, demand for lending has dropped some, but not really significantly. Not actually in a way that is correspondent to what the rates are doing. And so there's no refi activity, which is killing shops that existed off of that. But people are still buying houses. There's a lot of sticker shock on that, but it's still happening. People are still selling, and business formation, business activity, and business borrowing is still.
How do you gauge that? How do you gauge what indicators do you use to gauge that?
So I'm actually, what I like to look at is just what the banks are actually doing in terms of loan volume themselves. So like how many loans they're doing and, per month, per quarter, on a kind of a real-time basis. So that sort of activity is still, we're still charging forward. So the question is, I mean, as rates go up, so there's two things happening with a lot of these banks. First of all, some of the biggest ones are pretty cheap. I mean, like 10 times earnings is what they're at right now. And
which one are those?
I mean, even the major ones, like if you look at like Citibank is 6 times earnings. Let's see, Regions is 10 times. Bank of America is 10. Wells Fargo's 10.8. I mean, they're all kind of in that same range right there. And everyone's they're thinking the shoe's going to drop. And so I don't think that there's a ton of bad credit on a lot of these balance sheets. I think there's a lot of people who probably will just pay out their loan and they're just not going to move. The business is just going to kind of stay where it is. Everything's it's stable. The thing that is getting killed in some of these places is some of the fintechs, like the SoFi stuff.
Yeah.
And like Vero Bank. I like to watch Vero Bank.
Symbol?
I'm not sure if they're traded yet. They just raised $500 million. Let's see. They're kind of the like, we're gonna beat this thing. They bought out a bank and raised $500 million. They're losing about $100 million a quarter. So their runway's running out really fast. And it's just, it's all, they sell financial products to people who don't have any savings. So there's almost nothing on their balance sheet. They're just churning through their credit cards every single month. They're trying to make money on interchange. SoFi is they have a similar business model, although they're doing more of the, they're trying to do loans. They're doing a lot of personal loans, which personal loans are kind of like, I've used this analogy before. If you go out to the bar, it's not the first drink that gets you in trouble. It's the last couple shots before you leave that gets you in trouble. And those are the personal loans that in the market. The personal loans are the problem. And that's the stuff that's going to come back later. So they did $2.5 billion in those. My problem with SoFi is their effective asset base is like $37 billion. If you kind of figured out, where they were, they lose money hand over fist. Banks with $37 billion, like a corollary to that would be FNB Bank. It's First National Bank, $5 billion market cap. I'm trying to find real quick their earnings. They make money hand over fist, and $109 million is what they did last quarter. So $400 million versus SoFi loses. They're losing 95 million bucks a quarter. So there's a $200 million delta on that asset base. That's really hard to outrun on scale. I'm actually not sure what scale exists for this. Well, and so it just kind of shows when you just don't have a stable deposit base of cheap deposits that are never leaving, and you are trying to sell some of these loans, and the excuse me, the unit profit or unit metrics or whatever are just not profitable. Structurally, they're just not profitable, and it doesn't seem like they could make their way there by just scaling up to it.
Nate, now one thing I've been looking at is, of course, credit card defaults and kind of, you just mentioned personal loans, but one thing that I'm really concerned on is companies like Affirm that have opened up, right? Buy now, pay later. Is this a concern that you're seeing on out there, Nate?
I completely agree with that. I think there's a lot of problem with those credit portfolios. What's interesting is there's a lot of companies that have kind of built on this foundation. And just because we haven't had a significant credit crisis over the last, say, 14 years, it feels like this area of the market is really solid, but it's actually not a great area to be in the market. A lot of people like to dump on subprime, but the thing with subprime is that 13, 15, 17% interest rate is actually a true rate at the market to compensate for what the losses are. So if I always think, like, if someone came in with dodgy credit and said, hey, I want to borrow, just like your $20, Joel, it's like, I want to borrow $25,000 to buy a car. What would the rate that you would have to offer to that person to be okay with it? It's not 4%, 3%, no money down. It's probably 15, 17%. And then at that point you say, okay, I feel a little comfortable loaning this money out because if I don't get it back and I do it in a pool, I'm going to make enough money that it's going to cover some of those losses.
All right. So I did recently see car repossession starting to go up. Do you feel like this is a trend that's going to continue going in that direction?
I definitely think so. I saw a stat, and I wish I would have brought it to this. It was how many people bought a car right after the stimulus and then only made a handful of payments.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
The subprime mortgage all over again crisis here. We'll buy a brand new house and we'll make 2 payments, and we're missing payments.
Wrong.
Yes. Yeah. So hope's not a strategy. I think what caught a lot of people off guard was they either thought the money was going to continue or they just didn't have any ability to plan. And we're kind of in a similar situation now where I think a lot of people are going to get squeezed by some of the inflation. So I think it's going to come down some, but I think it's going to be persistent. And the reason for that is it's finally sort of soaked into people's psyches. And for a long time, it was kind of a financial markets thing. And I think that would have been the place for the Fed to totally kill it off. And we would not have had a problem. But now, just talking to friends and neighbors, everyone's, the prices are only going up. They're only going up. They're never going to come back down. And when people start to think like that, the next step is they say, hey, I need to get an 8% pay increase this year because I need to keep up. Well, then once you get that pay increase, then that trickles down through everything. And then suddenly you're in this spiral. And the only way to kill it is to induce some sort of a recession. And the Fed is just kind of baby stepping this so much that everything's just tracking along, and it hasn't happened yet.
Give me your most undervalued big bank and your most overvalued big bank.
Oh, that's a tough one. So Wells Fargo, I just don't like those guys. I think that is no matter what the price is, it's not worth buying. That's based on kind of the culture there, some of the business practices. They always keep having scandals. It's because the culture of the place is just a bunch of people running around, bumping into walls and not sure what they're doing. And you can't fix that. You can't fix that if it's trading lower or higher. In terms of big banks, I think Regions Financial is I like them. PNC Bank is also an interesting bank, and both of them have room to grow and market share to earn, and they're not really in that same class as, say, a Wells Fargo. I'll also throw out here. It's a small bank, but I like CBB Bank, and I think the ticker is CBBI.
Okay.
Holy, that's changed by appointment.
It's a tiny little thing. It's an OTC bank.
You been hanging out with Tim Melvin at all? I mean,
You and Tim, you like
that's
these
right. He
small
likes
ones.
these things.
Yeah,
This bank is they're a phenomenal operator. It's a Korean-owned bank, and so they do a lot of lending in that niche to Korean communities in the U.S. So L.A. and Texas.
Well, that makes sense.
Some of these minority banks are crazy undervalued, and they're extremely well run, and to the point where, at least with CBB, now they're paying a bigger dividend. And what I like about it is some of the fiscal restraint for the executives. So a lot of times you get a bank their size, a couple $2 billion, and executives are paying themselves $500,000, $1 million. These guys are all paid very reasonably, probably even on the low side for LA. And instead, they own, I think, 30% of the bank. And so they're paying earnings back out as a dividend. And so as a shareholder, I want to be on board with someone like that versus someone who's lining their pocket with options. And then, we get the scraps.
Are you still picking on the Bank of the Ozarks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I've used it on this show. My analogy is it's like living next door to a dynamite collector, and it might be okay for a while, but you get that one bad spark and you're done.
Okay.
Do you like that show, Ozark? Did you watch the series on Netflix?
No, I never did.
Oh gosh, you got to watch that series.
I watched
Probably
1
blowing
minute
up
of the
like
first
this.
episode, and it was enough for me.
No, it was awesome. You got to watch
man.
Ozark.
So
Bank
here's-
all I can think about is the Ozark, the Netflix
Here's
show.
something with Bank of the Ozarks, though, is so they went really deep into New York City real estate, and it was out this week that New York City real estate, the values are down like 42%, not quite as much as San Francisco, but at some point there'll be a reckoning with that. A lot of other cities have sort of escaped that because enough people have come back to the offices a couple days a week, and New York some of these major metros just still hasn't experienced that. And so they might have some impairments from that.
Nate, do you follow the European banks at all?
I mean, not really. They're a totally different beast. I would not invest. Well, I'll say this. I would not invest in them, except I would invest in some of the regional banks from Crédit Agricole. They're in France. And it's this really funky mutual structure. So the parent Crédit Agricole Bank owns, I think it's like 12 or 15 regional banks. And then the regional banks in turn own that parent bank. Those things are all perennially very cheap. And right now that they're only paying like a 5% dividend. Some of them will get up to like a 10 or 15% dividend. And they're worth just buying and sitting on. Probably one of them sells out and goes private every 10 years or so. So it's kind of a basket play. You purchase all of them, just sit there, collect dividends, and you'll do okay with that. But other than that, no, like the German banks, I won't invest in those.
What about the big banks? What about, we never talk about Goldman Sachs. We never talk about Morgan Stanley. I guess, they kind of are in their own category.
They're in their own category. I mean, Goldman Sachs is fairly cheap. I'll say this is from Goldman Sachs. I have never been hit by so many cold calls and cold emails trying to solicit me for their wealth management. So I don't know if that's
really?
Oh,
they want you to run money for them?
No, they want me to sign up as a customer.
Yeah, they want your money, more like it.
Wow.
And so I don't know if that's a sign that things aren't doing well or what.
That's we need more cash sign.
All right, Nate, before we let you go, I'm going to do something on the show that I've never done before.
Oh boy.
Since you're so hard to get a hold of by email, I'm going to schedule the next time you come on the show.
Okay, great.
All right, and I'm gonna go. I see JP.
It's like, yeah,
I-
look at your calendars
I
live on
see.
PreMarket
Yes,
Trap.
JP Morgan is October 14th. Okay.
There you go. He's been
Okay.
smart with
So-
it too, bringing the calendar in it.
So can we give it a couple days after that? Let me hold on real quick. We're sorry, folks. It's just this guy is
16.
Get him right in the middle
very-
of bank earnings season.
Yes.
That's where you
when we
want
got to
this
get
guy.
Nate on. Let me.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm all booked up. Then I know Muhammad Ali.
Dang, you see
trying
how
to get on.
you see how booked up Joel's calendar is here. He has to go.
Didn't we
through
have
it.
Muhammad on the show once?
Yeah,
We
they're
did.
trying
We
to get
had
him in.
Muhammad Al-Arian once.
How about we'll give it a
Get
couple
Muhammad
days
back.
to shake
He
out?
flips
How
a
about
little bit.
Tuesday, October 18th at 8:35?
Yeah, that works.
I'm going to send, you know what? I'm going to show you how tech I am. I'm going to send you a email Google Calendar invite too.
Sure.
Whoa,
That's
getting
what I
fancy
did. You
with
got
it.
He's not only technical on the charts, he's technical in his life.
Send me those invites. The invite works. Yes.
Okay, better than okay. Nate,
All right, Nate. Don't worry. I got the dog ready for the farm. We'll get one soon. No
There we
worries.
go. Yeah.
Nate
Get out on that
Tobik.
ranch.
our
Let's
number
go.
one bank analyst on Wall Street and guitarist. So Nate Tobik of
Thank
the
you so
Complete
much.
Playing
Bank
guitar next
Data
time you're coming
Report.
on.
Next time you're playing a tune.
Play a
You
little
know that?
ditty. Yep. All
Have a good
right.
one, Nate.
All right.
All
What
right,
a
that
good
was a
guy.
great interview
That's good,
there. Definitely talked a lot about the banks, and the banks were looking good yesterday. So we'll see if they can have a little bit of follow through. I did want to get into Regeneron before we get too
Oh my
far
gosh.
away. Regeneron
Wow.
definitely getting a monster move yesterday from positive results. And then today, Morgan Stanley's analyst Matthew Harrison upgrading Regeneron said that it could gain another 20% from the current levels after the shares rallied on the backs of positive drug trial results. He said, overall, we now see Regeneron as the preferred large cap growth name, supported by a range of products delivering durable revenues and advancing oncology pipeline with potential to diversify the base business.
The chase is on. I saw a couple upgrades for Regeneron today. Got to chase
Mhm.
price. That's what they like to
I
do.
have no idea. I'll let you guys handle this one. I have
All right.
absolutely
8 minutes
Well-
of ticker time, I think, is what we're have happening here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, will it start up the biotechs again? And so that's what I'll be watching, of course. To see
They
if-
all ran yesterday. Biogen, huge day. Had the
Exactly.
conference that we're running. Regeneron, obviously. You had a lot of big moves. Biotech. Gilead was up at one point in time, but Gilead never holds a gain.
I'm trying Gilead right now in my little paper competition account. So we'll see if that one can
Gilead's
get
has
going.
been tough money for a long time. COVID. Remember we were all over Gilead during COVID. That was good.
Yeah, we were
The
looking
beginning
for
of
them.
COVID.
Looking
Yeah.
to step up. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a little bit of ticker time, see what's mentioning on out there. Sabrina bringing up one that I've been closely following. Let's do that one. Let's do the Oxy. I don't think we mentioned an oil name today. Oxy having some lows in the same area.
Yes.
Will it hold? I talked about
Double
this
bottom.
area.
Yep. Yep.
Is Warren getting down and dirty yet?
That's what I'm
We
wondering.
know if it gets down to the 50s, Warren's like, yeah, come to
Well,
pop up. But I don't know if he's getting down dirty at 64 or not from yesterday. Obviously, I've been kind of trying to like just be biased long this stock against oil just because and hedging it against XLE, XOP, just because I feel like there's a Warren put in here. But it's come back down nicely. If you want to buy oil stocks, this is the one I'd buy.
I'm not going to look at. I'm 66. I can't get that out of my mind. Right there. If you're looking for
Yeah,
more
I like
upside.
it.
Yep.
I like
Closing
it here.
66.
Yep.
You're
I
feeling
don't like
good.
oil overall, but I like Oxy.
I know. That's kind of the way
Warren.
I feel because it's like, you just don't want to fight Warren,
Yeah.
and even though, I mean, these stocks, if you think about it, I mean, they have pulled back, but I think at this point, these things have been holding up pretty well, but keep an eye on 66 and Oxy.
Shout out to Petrie. Greetings from Finland.
Finland.
Really?
We love
Yeah.
Finland.
Got to give him a shout out for sure.
How'd you
got
find
some love
us?
on the show. That's
How'd
what I
you
like to
find
hear.
us, Petrie? Huh? Finland.
All right,
Wow.
let's take one more. Let's do here. I'm seeing some lower names. What Micron? This is one that we haven't talked about.
I'm long in the long-term account. Bag holding Micron.
Yay!
I'm
Max is
holder.
losing money.
Hey, you got diamond hands. You got diamond
hands. Micron. These are called, that's how you lose money. Diamond hands equals losing money. $51 low in July. We've bounced off those lows. We know it's been kind of a shipwreck. NVIDIA leading the way on the downside, not helping any of them. Micron, I'm just looking through them all. Applied Materials, LRCX, all had decent days. Sneaky, I mean, you could use yesterday's low. It made a new low on the move. We could use that, but it's definitely showing no relative strength yet. So kind of talking as my book, but it's been a dog.
A short-term target, really short-term. See what happens at 56.69. That was your high on Tuesday. I finally got the days right with the Labor Day. But for me, for long-term, like to say, okay, Dennis is not going to get smoked on this one. I would like to see it go up and get above 58 and hold 58. And you know why? Because it had the move off the earnings warnings low, bounced to 65, gave back more than half of the move, right? And now can the Bulls reestablish that like everything's okay, hold 58. So that's what I'm looking at in Micron.
I've decided I suck at trading the stock. I just decided it right now because I had Micron. I get stuck in the value trap in this thing. You look at the earnings like, but it's all cyclical.
It's cyclical.
I know it screws me every time.
It's cyclical. When you buy it, it goes down.
Yeah, it's me. It's got to be me. For sure.
Well, last one I'll just bring up because you guys see me representing the Dolphins. Definitely DraftKings. It wasn't a bad little trade into the NFL season.
Yeah,
NFL season started last night,
yep.
And now I'll see if it can continue running. But wasn't.
Are you going with Baker Mayfield on the daily fantasy like I recommended?
I got you, Joel. I'm gonna take some Baker. Wake and Baker, man. Wake and Baker.
17. No, that's wake and bake with Chaikin.
How are the Lions? Are we have any chance against the Eagles this weekend? Is there any chance?
The Lions against the Eagles? Come on, Dennis.
No chance, right?
You got to be praying for one.
There's no chance.
I want to be a Lions fan.
Try to start strong and they give you hope. I've been a Lions fan for better part of 40 years, and it's like they give you the hope always. It's like, well, we're going to be better. Oh, well, we're going to get that high pick. Oh, well, we start with 3-1 out the gate. This is the year. And then we lose like 8 in a row. That's how it works. So it's early in the season. Usually the Lions give you some hope. They'll beat the Eagles. They'll be like, this is the Lions' year. And then we'll just fall apart.
Do you get HBO in Canada?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get everything in Canada. What do you think? We're like in the...
because Hard Knocks. Here? Do you know what Hard Knocks is?
No.
You haven't watched Hard Knocks, Dennis?
I don't watch it either, but
Dennis, give me a call. I can share my password.
Yeah, it's like NFL reality show. They did it on the Lions. I'm worried about the offensive line. They're banged up, and
that's the problem.
They always have a suspect defense. So I want to be because they take it Aiden Hutchinson number 2. So I'm thinking of getting some Lions gear, but I put Lisa through so much on football Saturdays that I really have tried not to put her through the same on football Sundays. So I'm going to wrap.
The key is if you're a Lions, if you're going to become a Lions fan here, you got one playoff victory in the history of the franchise. I mean, you could say, oh yeah, well, eventually it's our time. The odds are eventually we're going to work. You know how many like top 5 picks the Lions have screwed up? Pretty much all of them. I mean, it's just I don't know how you can just get the losing out of the franchise, but it's just there forever. So
Jason's ruined the Lions.
Jason just popped in. He's go Lions.
He said he met golf.
Jason is. Are we going to beat the Eagles this weekend? I want to know. I think we can. DraftKings.
Well, I'll say at least I think Joel picks the best team in Michigan to go for, and you might want to follow Joel's advice on picking the right team.
I'm calling the Lions as the upset for the week over the Eagles.
Home dog.
We're going to get all pumped up and say this is our year after the victory, and then it's going to fall apart after.
Home dog. Home dog. One of my dad's golden rules was home dog on grass. but there's no grass there. It's artificial grass. So and the home field advantage certainly didn't help the Super Bowl champs last night. So that home field advantage is definitely dissipating. But all right, Dennis, I'll let you get to editing that chapter on the 50% retracement that you'll be doing after the open.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call you at
There's a
10
lot of editing
o'clock
on
to
that.
make sure that it's done. Okay?
All right.
You guys
Alright,
see
I'll
that?
talk to you
All
in
right,
10.
I'll get
I'm
these
writing it
guys on
down
out of
here.
Go
here.
blue.
Joel Elconin going to pre-market
Go
prep
Lions.
plus. Dennis going to what he does best. Go ahead and
Lions.
nail some trading.
Lions.
See what you see on out there. We'll see if we get that rally into the CPI report like Dennis has been kind of looking at. And I feel like, at least on that point, he's been pretty dead on. I know Joel and I were looking at more of the 401 kind of being a little bit of a stopping point. We got over that already overnight. So keep your eyes on that. I'm going to quickly go through some of the stocks, bring you guys over to all access. It's going to be at 9:10. Let's keep going. Let's take an overall look in the market. What kind of trades can we see going into this? Where could we see the SPY stop today? Well, the first level I'm going to call out is right over here on Monday's high, which is 405.84. That's kind of the level, the first one to stop. Then I see Dennis's 410 in play. Now that we're above the 400, definitely the 410 is in play. I say keep watch on a stock like Apple that's putting in a nice little bottom around here. We wouldn't want to see it get back through 153.50s. There's 153.60s, 153.69. So don't see that cut through those lows. You're looking for a move back above 157, going towards 160 on Apple to have a really nice day there. Tesla has been also one to keep on watch. Look for a move back above the 300. 280s was acting like a good support here for a good while. So a little pullback into that is not a bad area to see around 285, but a move back above 300 has this really looking bullish. And then you can really start looking back towards those rips. Remember when it was at kind of the 1100, this time it would be a move going up towards, let's say, 325s. Tesla's actually looking good here. I'm starting to see some good balancing here. And now we just need to see the volume come through with a nice breakout on the upside. We'll see what happens there. Of course, lithium plays in play today. We talked about PLL setup, LAC, but don't forget uranium also. Uranium's been taking off. I've been talking about this countless times for you guys to kind of keep following these. Uranium making a really nice move yesterday. We're talking about a move above 24 yesterday. Now we're above that 24, up of about 24.25. I'd be looking for a slight red to green coming back towards around 23.75, then getting right back above that 24 level. And of course, if you guys just want some kind of the actual price stocks, the actual symbols, you can look at LEU, UEC, URG. These are definitely some to keep on watch. With this, I've been watching kind of the solar moves, right? I'm been in this one in the competition account, and we're gonna look to see this kind of continue going. ENPH is our leader, right? And what struggled yesterday was First Solar. So keep your eyes on First Solar. I feel how First Solar goes, the kind of solar stocks will follow. And NVIDIA for tech. If you're looking at tech, look at NVIDIA. We're back above kind of this 141 range. Now we're getting into this kind of shadow area. Look to see if we can make the move and start closing on up there close towards 149.99 or 150. We'll see if we can make that move back on up today. I feel like as NVIDIA go, a lot of the tech names will go. So this is one that I've been watching. As yesterday, we saw a kind of lead on up, and a lot of them kind of followed like AMD and a lot of these stocks. So keep them on your radar today. Technology has been decent. Basic Materials also had a big day in steel yesterday. So if you want to take a look at some stocks, take a look at Cleveland Cliff. Yesterday, it's had a really nice move on up. I'm starting to watch the daily level. I've talked about above 18s. It looks really nice to coming back towards 19 and 20. This is one to keep on watch. Look for the leader to take lead, US Steel, or maybe NUE to kind of take lead here. US Steel had a really nice day yesterday, and also Nucor. So these are just steel plays that you guys can keep on watch. And look at the daily now on Nucor as it's trying to get back towards some highs. We'll see if it gets around the 145. All right, so throw up some stocks in the chat. If you guys got some, I'll definitely run through them. Are you still bearish longer term? Yes, I am still bearish longer term. The big thing for me is I would like to see what happens in the next kind of 2 or 3 months. with kind of the inflation data, because I think it's all going to be dependent on oil. Really, I think when it comes down to is, will oil spike back above, let's say, 120? If that happens, well, there you guys will probably see, at least in my eyes, we'll probably get that downturn towards, let's say, and I would say around this 350 looks interesting for me. But for me, also, I think one of the things is that we need to see is some consistency, right? We can't be seeing these kind of up moves, like a move up about 14% in the SPY, and then a move followed by a 10% decline. We want to get these to kind of slow down. The volatility, it needs to slow down here. We need some sideways action for us to kind of get back up. And for right now, I think we're just in a chop until we get out of this kind of inflationary story. And once the inflation story changes, we'll be back into a bull market. The question is, will we come back to 365s? Well, I still feel that there's definitely room to go back down there. The big thing is going to be about inflation. UNG is one that I'm closely keeping an eye on, right? It has pulled back significantly. Now we'll look to see if we get another run in natural gas, and we'll see how it affects. Also, take a look at the commodities. Wheat is trying to come back up. Corn is trying to come back up. This is what's going to determine, right? I mean, corn is starting to make a little bit of a move. Soybean, you guys can watch or look at the futures contracts for soybean, and take a look at coffee, things like that. I think we will get another spike here. If those spike, then inflation comes back up. We need to keep on watch. All right, let's keep going. APPH. APPH. I did see some people looking at this App Harvest. Well, I mean, you're going off of a monthly support. If you want to go off that monthly support, that's not too bad. That's a recovery of the 284. I personally just think that, this stock's in a downtrend, and that's probably why I wouldn't be trading it here. But do I like the company long term? I like what they're doing. I have to say, I think that the mission's a good mission, but the problem is, can they actually start getting some kind of real return there? I do see this declining line and kind of a bottoming around the 260s. If you're going really tight, I don't think it's a bad trade, because you're sticking towards your risk and you have a bottom, but you have to really kind of stick there. You really wouldn't want to see this stock get to 250 and then breaking through 52-week lows. APPH is a 5-year stock. I would agree with that outlook, Zoltan. It's definitely a stock that doesn't have a bad story, doesn't have a bad mission, but they're losing so much money right now is the key, 100%. All right, pins getting the lift up. All right, we got about 3 minutes left till we get you guys over to all access. Pins is starting to get that lift. This is one to watch, I think, with Snap. So as you see Snap go, you can see Snap continuing that daily trend up. Look for pins. So I would just look at both of them. Pullback levels to look for around 24, slightly below 24. But right now you're already at almost 25. So you could see this just kind of take off through 25 here. I'd watch Snap also. I think they're going to run hand in hand. Keep your eyes on these two names. All right, we'll see what else is kind of getting some lift out there. It's going to be interesting to watch today. Financial services, we're getting a lift yesterday. We'll see if JPM can continue and do a day 2 type of move. You can see here, it's kind of it would be a day 3. It's already kind of gotten some good lift here. We'll see what happens here in the global banks. All right, hit the like. I hope you guys are enjoying me going through the content here and trying to do my best to go through some stocks. If you guys got some stocks to call on out, you're more than welcome to throw them out, and I'll definitely take a look. What else am I going to take a look at? Let's see here. Target, one that is definitely on our radar, Quantum. We've talked about this. We've been looking for it to really kind of get into the shadow zone and hold. Yesterday, you got that nice close, and it held the pullback. So I'm starting to look at Target for a longer-term play, trying to fill in some of the shadow up towards 200. It doesn't look bad. Remember, they're getting through a lot of their inventory. Now we just have to see what happens in Target in their earnings. Their earnings don't come, though, until November 16th. So we could maybe close up this gap before we get that earnings report, and then we'll be worried about, will it get this knocked down right back into these levels? So Target is definitely one on my radar, just like Costco is on my radar also. And Costco reports on September 22nd. So that's not too far. So Costco is definitely on my radar. We'll see if it can make a move back on up. Let's look at the daily chart. daily chart has a lot of bottoming around these moving averages. Look for these moving averages to hold, especially the 200-day, which is 523.28, has some nice bottoming there. And moving averages starting to come below gives us that bullish sign, especially if they can stay below the price action. We'll see what happens. All right, that's going to do it for me today, guys. We are about to get you on over to All Access, where you guys will get some stories from some new stocks and opportunities out there. Like always, you guys know I'm all about the stories, so I pay attention to these stocks also to maybe find a potential investment that I like. Like always, we will be on in the chat. If you guys want to chat with me in there, talk about some stocks, you're more than welcome to. Maybe call out some big movers. I'll be in that chat, staying along with you guys like always, building the community. Please hit the thumbs on up if you guys enjoy pre-market prep. That's what this is all about. I mean, at the end of the day, we try to get you guys ready for the markets to rise and shine into the intraday trading action. We'll see you next time, like always, right here on Benzinga's pre-market prep, and hit the like on your way out. I'll see you guys next time, and have a great weekend. Enjoy some football action. Thank you.